Dr. Chandrasekhar, Director General CSIR, Dr. Marde, Vice Chancellor, University of Kashmir, Dr. Farooq, Mr. PRASAR. I can see some of the very eminent seniors seated over here. We have the Vice Chancellor from Jammu Central University, University of Kashmir, and I was seeing Professor Sopuri also somewhere. Yeah, because the faces are very smartly camouflaged, so it's difficult sometimes to make out. I hope we don't come across a day when we like to actually mask ourselves to be identified. Nevertheless, I am glad that we are together over here this forenoon to perform this pleasant task of releasing the Science Monthly in Hindi and Urdu, besides of course English. And as was being mentioned by Dr. Farooq, very soon we'll also be coming out with Dogri and Kashmiri versions, so as to complete the cycle in its entirety. We have already, I was told, come out with the vernacular versions in Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Maithili, etc. So some of the languages which have not yet been taken into this fold, including Dogri, Kashmiri, some of the northeastern languages, the Oriya, will also be, so that the exercise that we began is accomplished in its first phase, and then it becomes a regular feature. Now, why this monthly magazine in the regional languages, the vernacular languages, or the Indian languages? The question was partly addressed by Dr. Farooq, and that brings to my mind what the Honorable Prime Minister said in 2018 while addressing a program in Kolkata. And I think that sums up in a single sentence the entire spirit of it. The Prime Minister said, and I quote, "To promote understanding and love of science among our youth, it is vital that we promote science communication in a big way. Language should not be a barrier, but a facilitator in this task," end quote. So I think that sums up all. No section of youth or students or aspirants should feel at disadvantage simply because they lack knowledge of the English language. Leave aside the nuances of giving due respect and place to a language, which of course is one of our mandate, but besides that, from the point of view of livelihood, the point of view of career prospects, from the point of view of aspirational accomplishment also, if we are to provide a level playing field in a country as heterogeneous as India, we have to have these options available with us. Secondly, if you ask me, I think this has also been a strange twist of circumstances over the centuries that we landed up in a situation like this, where you and I prefer talking in English and also speaking science in English language, because the education policy of India in its modern version was formulated by Lord Macaulay, and therefore the entire syllabi and the curriculum got written in the language which was being spoken by the British. And since we were new into it, we had not many more options available at that time. That doesn't mean that if we were invaded by some other country, or we would have started speaking that language, but nevertheless, this was an incidental happening. Otherwise, you see some of the best science accomplishments happening in Soviet Union. They were the first to send a human being into space, and the entire exercise is done by their local language without even bothering or without having feeling the necessity of having the knowledge of English language. So they were the first actually in space technology, even ahead of America, even though America landed a human being first, but the first human being sent up was through Soviet Union. So also the case of Japan. Even today, you RD and the rest of the science projects happening over there, even China. So what I'm trying to say is that it was incidental, it's a outcome of a strange sequence of events in the recent history of India. So now it is, I think, under Prime Minister Modi, time to actually redeem this anomaly which has happened, or this contradiction which has happened. More so also because most of the universities and most of the schools and colleges in most of the states in India today are imparting vernacular medium to the highest levels of higher education, which was not happening earlier. Now you can do your post-graduation in Telugu, you can do it in Urdu. I come across youngsters who have never read a word of English language. Even in civil services, I think 4 or 5 years back, we had one of the toppers, I think it was 4th or 5th topper in civil services all India, who had done his entire graduation in Telugu, because he came from a village and nearby the only college available was the one which provided Telugu medium. But then this boy had the urge to appear for civil services, and graduation was the minimum eligibility qualification, and he did that. So what I'm trying to say, the aspiration level of the youth of India 2021 has gone tremendously high, and it is now ready to break the barriers of language. You could imagine the aspiration level of this young boy that I'm referring to. His mother was a housemaid. He came from a lower socio-economic setup. The aspiration was so overpowering and irresistible for him that he had to acquire. So when we come across such potential bright brains in this country spread across north, south, east, west, northeast, then one feels guilty of somewhere, not doing enough to give them a level playing field. And that is where, more so also because most of the services today are also attracting graduates from science streams, which is also a phenomenon which is slightly different from what it was soon after independence. There's a huge emphasis on humanities. But at least under Prime Minister Modi, we have taken up the courage and inspiration to undertake this task. Though it might take time, but at least we've started moving in that direction. We have started realizing the importance and the pride of having vernaculars also as a part of science curriculum, which was earlier confined mostly to the humanities curriculum. So thank you very much. I hope we'll meet again, maybe at Dr. Farooq's University or somewhere in Jammu, when we release the rest of the languages related to your union territory. Thank you very much.